welcome back to the Read Receipts Podcast. Today is a checks out episode. We are checking out. Wait, do we have a catchphrase for this?
I don't know, but I think I need to be checked in to a mental institute. So
we're checking out so Caity can get checked in. Seriously, she needs it. She needs the help. I mean, I do too. Okay.
We all do. But welcome back to the Read Receipts. My name is Caity.
My name is
Devon.
Jaclyn.
I don't know why. I said that with so much like pizzazz.
Also, Devon.
Caity. And I was like, I had like a little like cheer after that. My name is Caity. My name is Jaclyn. My name is Devon and Devon.
It's like that SNL skit with Will Ferrell. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Except every time that Devon gets to her turn, I always feel like it just like literally,
and then I'm like,
go down.
Like, and I'm Denise.
Like you're sorry about it. Exactly like that. So it is. It is in fact. Sorry. How the hell are you guys? How the hell are you doing?
Anyway,
putting on a sweater was not the best choice. With a mix of lots of Celsius, my body is...
Okay, you want to know a confession? I have an ice pack back here.
I thought, Jaclyn, I thought you whipped out your pad.
Stop. Okay, stop.
I have a confession.
It is a heavy pillow.
Oh my god, please. I'm not cute when I cry. Stop. Okay. No, it's an ice pack, I swear.
I'm getting another one.
But the sun's been beating down. I can't believe it's spring. It feels like early summer. It's hot.
And I'm like, I want to give like cozy vibes, but also have this like giant light beaming down on me. Like,
I literally have a sunbeam in my face right now. I'm burning up.
Wasn't it just snowing like 2 weeks ago?
You know what? I don't know, but I think in like 3 days it's gonna be like 20 degrees. So
you know,
I don't know. Climate change too, you know?
That's not a fair assessment, actually, because I used to live in the Texas, Midwest, whatever, middle America, and the weather does change pretty rapidly, pretty quickly.
She's a finicky bitch. What can I say?
Now you have your pad. Oh my god.
Okay, so let's clarify. Who's using a pad that's this big?
Oh my god.
I don't know. I don't know. You guys are pretty far away, so.
Oh my god.
I've seen what I've seen.
I've seen all I need to see.
I've seen everything I need to see. Oh my god. Well, let's talk about some books. Yes. Or something.
Is that what we're doing here? Is that why we're here? Someone remind me.
Oh, it is the check out episode, so we don't really need to be hinged.
As if they have to listen no matter what we say.
I know.
Captive audience. Okay, books. Has anyone finished a book recently?
No.
Okay. No.
Okay, cool.
However,
Great.
I'm in the middle of a book, and I can already recommend it because I'm loving it. But I had to put it down. I had to put it down the other day, and it was killing me because I got to like such a good part. It's you know what? Who knows? It's called What the River Knows. And I had, I'll come back to it, but I had to put it down the other day because for a book club, I had to read The Kraken Sacrifice. And let me tell you, going from like such a good book and like I was getting to such a good part, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait. And then I was like, book clubs tonight, I have to read A Kraken Sacrifice. Haven't like really started it, picked it up, and just had to like zoom through that, which was interesting to say the least. I
thought you were gonna be like fabulous.
I had a great time. I had a blast. However, there's what was I just telling? No, what was I just telling you guys about? Oh, there's the penis.
What's the shape of the penis?
Yes.
That's what we really came here for. What shape is the penis?
I forget the technical word for it, but you know how like a monkey's tail, like the monkey has control over the tail and it can like grip trunks, or like a squid and their tentacles, like it can hold things. That was the penis. He had control, complete control, which was so interesting. And then
it's a really high bar, you know? How do you go back to the real world when you're like, could you just please
is this a problem? And she's like, oh my God, not at all.
Is this a problem?
You have a third hand.
Yeah.
What's the problem with that?
Fine with me.
That's a humble brag. That's a humble brag.
Book where
like, I'm sorry.
She's like, oh, he had like such a good, his name's great. His name was like Thane or something. I love his name. If only he wasn't, and I forget what it was, but it was something like ridiculous. Like if he wasn't so grumpy, like I'd be really into him. I was like, and maybe also just like a side note, maybe if he wasn't a squid, like that, it was like, oh, he has a really hot name, but if only he wasn't such like a grump. Oh, I was like, ma'am, he has tentacles coming out of his head.
Shucks.
Okay, but anyway, I digress. What I wanted to say was the book I'm currently reading. So good. So it's set in like, it's historical fiction and mystery is like the main genre I would put it in. It's like 1800s Egypt, and it's like kind of like The Mummy, and they're going to like pyramids or trying to find Cleopatra's tomb, but then there's like a side genre of romance, like not the main thing, but like there's some tension with like such a hot guy. The hot guy's like Eddie Redmayne. Like he's a ginger, which is new to me. And I'm like, I love this.
Are they on
they're on the Nile? And like there's crocodiles and everything.
Okay.
And then also a side genre of fantasy, because like some objects or like artifacts have leftover magic from the previous, like people used to have magic, and then it's just leftovers now. So like objects can hold that leftover magic. So it's like very like side, like magic, a little bit of romance, but like mostly historical mystery. And I'm like eating it up. So good.
Okay. I have a rec then, and it's not a book. I have a recommendation. Okay, so I too, I don't know, I'm just like, maybe I never got over my Cleopatra phase, but everything Egypt, everything pyramids, the Nile, don't get me started. I love all of that. So this is right up my alley. But I did just watch on Netflix. I don't even know what genre it's like dramatized history, like storytelling, but it's about Alexander the Great. So it's like the precursor to Cleopatra, but very much like Egypt is important. And I'm like realizing, I'm like, I sure wish that like in history they would have taught it this way, because I was like enthralled. The actors are amazing, but then they cut to like these historians who are just like literally so jazzed to be talking about, you know, the history and the lore of it all. And there's like a theme of like gods and magic like woven in a way that you're like, this is, I think it's par if you're like loving that book, because now that has me thinking I've got to read this book because of how much I literally devoured.
What's that called?
I forget how many episodes there were, but it was really good. I think it's called Alexander the Great. I could be wrong, but I bet you if you went on Netflix.
I think it's just called Alexander the Great. I saw it and I watched the trailer for it on Netflix, and I was like, oh my God, immediately watching this. but I thought it was all a dramatization. I did not realize that there is historical commentary throughout, like as if it's a documentary. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. But the reenactments look absolutely phenomenal. So I was like, maybe I will watch it.
And yeah, well, apparently I like didn't pay attention in class because I like literally had no idea that like Alexander had a love story with his like best friend Ptolemy. Like they like grew up together, and he like was like his lover for most of like his life while he had and he like went into battle with him, and I'm like, that is so fucking romantic. I'm sure there are books written about their love story, but again, news to me. Sorry, history teacher, if you told me and I forgot, but it was really good.
I just had to look up the book because I can pinpoint specifically where my fascination for Egypt, the Nile, Cleopatra started, and it's the Royal Diary series.
I knew you were going to say
Cleopatra, Daughter of the Nile, Egypt, 57 BC.
Those books.
If you saw
was that your first
book, this is my origin story.
Was it perhaps also the origin of our obsession with sprayed edges, because they all had gold edges? Do you remember?
Yes, they all did.
And a bookmark and a ribbon bookmark, like a diary.
Like it was from like an artifact. I'd be like, this book is from the Library of Alexandria, and I have it.
They were all. Oh my god! Let me look up the other ones.
The first one I read was definitely Cleopatra's, and that's where it started for sure.
Why is that not giving?
There was like a bunch, like 20 of them, maybe more, right? I only had 2.
Oh my god,
Anastasia, Marie Antoinette.
Oh, Marie Antoinette, I read that one. Oh my gosh, guys, I just realized I misquoted. Alexander's lover wasn't Ptolemy, because Ptolemy was like the start of Cleopatra's house. I don't know. It's his best friend, lover. So don't ever quote me so seriously.
Don't ever fact check.
This is what I mean to say. Please don't. Just watch it.
No, like actually, please don't.
Please don't.
Oh my gosh. There's a bunch of them, but that one is definitely the one that is like embedded in my just brain forever. My mom is shipping me a bunch of my old books that were in storage that like went away when I went to college, and she was pulling a bunch of stuff out of storage, and she was like, do you want these? I was like, do I want these? Yeah, immediately send them all to me. I don't know, whatever is in that box, like I want it, and I'm hoping that book is in there. It should be.
Did you guys have the books that were like a bit bigger? Like they were like this big, and there was one that was Egyptology, and you would open it up and it would have like mummy cloth in it, or like, and it had like the artifact, and then there was a Fairytopia one that had like fairy wings in it.
The fairy one.
I brought the Egypt one to school, acting like as if this is like I got it from a pyramid in Egypt, and like this is actual mummy cloth, and they cut the cloth of a mummy and they put it in the book. Like I thought everything in that 100% real. I'm like, I don't know how Barnes and Noble is selling. Like,
I
had the Egypt one, and I think my sister had the fairy one, and
I'm fairly positive I had those.
I want the book now. I don't know where it is, but like the cover.
Oh my god! I think there was one.
The cover was like gold, and then it had like gems in it that created like a pharaoh type of thing. Like it looked to young kid looked legit, minus the barcode on the back.
That's hieroglyphics.
I'm in I'm in the middle of a lot. I did just finish When the Moon Hatched by Sarah Parker. That took me a little while to finish, but it was just long. I love the world in it. It was probably, did you guys ever like pick up a book and you're like, this is a little more difficult than I'm like mentally here for right now, but I kind of pushed through that, and mostly there'd be like, they'd mention something and I'm like, did I miss something? And have to kind of like search around the book and figure, oh, okay, that's who that was. Or so they kind of don't give you a chance to catch up on world building. They literally just throw you in, and it actually opens up with like a glossary. There's like 14 pages of them telling 14. You what things are. Yeah, which is intimidating. Ooh. It's a lot. But they also
I knew define that was thick, but damn.
Yeah, no, she thick. But you know what it is? It has like a whole like ideology around dragons that I have not really seen before. It's like a take on like a world with dragons that it's just so different than most of the dragon stories I've read. So it was really good. It was really, really good. But again, I could totally see someone being like, this is like really long. You know what I mean? Do you ever read a book and you're like, this is going to divide people? So it's like, you want to acknowledge it. You want to acknowledge you're like, you should try it. But I also, if you were like, I can't get into it, I would also say, valid. I understand. But it's worth. It took a while, but once I got to like the part that was like, oh, so here, because it goes back and forth. It has diary entries and has multiple POVs, and the diary entries in the past, it takes you a little while to understand like why you're reading this person's diary, and then once it all clicks, a lot of more things fall into place. So it was good. It was really good.
Well, I'm not reading anything because I just finished literally my trifecta of audiobook, Kindle, and physical. So I'm like clean slate, ready for the next thing, because audio is listening to Love Theoretically, which I talked about on our other episode. My physical was Two Twisted Crowns. I love that duology so much. And then my Kindle was Swift and Saddled. So I'm like done. I'm on to the next thing. What that will be,
what's to say?
Time will tell. But you know what I did watch? Finally, that you both were talking about. I just watched last night before last, The Ballad of Snakes and Songbirds. I finally watched it.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Thoughts. So many thoughts. What is the thought?
Quick question. Quick question first. Did you read the book?
No. And so I told myself, and so why I was putting it off is because I told myself I was going to read it first. I did not go through with that, but I think I still will read it if you tell me that there's more context that is enjoyable outside of the movie.
I read it so long ago. I read it like that was like 2020. I remember it being pandemic times. And I did remember but see, now it's kind of hard because I remember the snow in the book, and then now there's like fan edit snow, Coriolanus, which I get it, but I think I still fell for him in a way in the book, in a way I wouldn't in the movie if he had not been attractive, right? I think the book kind of fooled you a little bit more, like a little bit like you'd be like rooting for him, and you'd be like, I know how this ends. Why am I rooting for him? And I guess the movie's like that a bit, but I felt like the book might have been just like a step further in the treachery that is.
And I haven't read it, but someone said like knowing his inner dialogue, it's like even more like criminally insane. Like he's kind of even more evil knowing his internal dialogue, and like he has thoughts where you're like, whoa. But then you still like him?
I don't know if I agree with that, because I think in the movie some of his actions feel really like, what the fuck, bro? Like, you know, like why would you just turn your friend in like that? And I think his inner dialogue, you connect the dots a little bit more to like why he's acting out this way. It's not an excusing of his behavior. It's just like you're like, oh no, Coriolanus. Like you see and you're a little more empathetic because it's from his POV. And you get that, like, I think that's one part, like, I think I understood watching, but I remember thinking, people are going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with him? Like, he's acting so erratically in that movie. Like, his actions, you're like, that's so bad. Why would you do that?
Yeah. And if the book has more inner dialogue and the understanding of why he's doing the things he's doing, I might read it, because I think a lot of it felt very irrational and not really I understand he needs money for his family and he wants to take care of his family. He wants to go back to his family. But other than that, why are you putting your friend, like literally throwing your friend under the bus and then being upset about it after? I don't know. I get the inner complex, and he's a very like very twisted character. I get that, but if it goes a little bit more into the book, I think I might still read it.
I think his friendships,
the ending.
His
God.
His friendships, I think, are stronger, and the like the romance, everything's a little stronger because I think the book is just a little longer, right? Everything gets chopped down a little bit, so it feels like you're moving really fast. Like 1 minute he's in the Capitol, and next minute he's in District 12, and then next thing you know, him and Lucy, and then next thing he's betraying his friend. And I feel like the book just kind of felt like it wasn't so rushed in how all those things happen and how his friendship develops, which makes the betrayal stronger, but it also, like, I don't know. I think it's, what is that? I'm always in camp. Book is always going to be just a little slightly better if the book is good, because they aren't limited to things. It was cool to see it all play out, like see the arena. The casting was great. I thought the casting was wonderful. And all Hunger Games movies, like anytime I'm like, there is going to be wardrobe, it's going to be so cool. Mm-hmm. So all of that was cool, but I would still suggest maybe reading it. Like if you found it at all interesting, you might find it more interesting to hear more inner dialogue.
Slay. I will do that. Like, because Viola Davis,
so good.
So good. I'm obsessed with her.
So
twisted ass self. I could literally watch stuff about the Capitol like all day because I think it's just so fascinating. So, Girly Pop, if you want to write another book about the Capitol and release it so we can then put it out into a movie,
go.
Do it.
Please. I don't know if you have another property you want to buy or anything. Like, just think about the things that you want, Suzanne, okay? Think about them. And just, like, you know, maybe pop out another book.
We'd be open to it.
We would.
Coming from someone who has not read it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, speaking of addictive, well, I don't know if I'm just like making my own transition here, but something that I devoured, maybe more audiobook wise, which this is so funny. I watched all of Risa Tisa's Who the Fuck Did I Marry series, which is 50 parts. Someone did break it down, like how many hours it is, and I'm not going to repeat it because I blacked out knowing that I spent that much time.
How many hours? Tell me now.
Well, do you guys want to? I don't want to do the math, but each video is 10 minutes.
Hours.
She uses up to 10 minutes.
I heard 8.
What was the total?
More than 8?
No, it's more.
Someone,
or maybe not.
My friend watched it on.
Someone is literally getting out of
10 times 50. What is that?
And then divide by 60. Divide. Everybody,
what is it? 10 times
my calculator.
50.
500.
So 500 minutes divided by 60.
Divided by 60.
8.3.
So 8 hours. And that's not bad. I feel better. I think I thought I was worse. It took me a few days, and I literally was just like playing it in the background. Like it was literally like a podcast almost. But what's funny is that I saw on TikTok, someone said they like added it to Goodreads as like an audiobook. So they can mark it off.
So funny.
Mark it off as read. It would make a great book though, for sure. I'm sure Netflix has reached out. Like I'm sure things will happen. So like it's funny, like I want to tell people to go listen to it because it's crazy and entertaining, and it's just a fun form of storytelling. But at the same time, I'm like, you could wait until someone gets their hands on it and repurposes the content.
I heard it's on YouTube and like people playing at like 2-point speed on YouTube and just like straight through.
That's
she goes on it.
I wish I've done it, and sometimes I'll do it on TikTok, and I think it's honestly just a glitch because sometimes I'll hit the 2x speed and then I'll release my phone and it still stays on 2x speed throughout the video, and I was like, oh, I did not mean to do that, and I cannot figure out if it's a glitch or I'm somehow triggering it to stay that way. Nevertheless, TikTok, I think you need to have an update where you just have it at 2x and then I can release my finger and let me do my business. Because I listened to it like a podcast and just had it playing in the background and then would like go and like swipe to the next one. Faux show.
She's definitely long-winded, but she's kind of like a comfort character, you know? Like,
she's funny.
I like the sound of her voice.
Soothing. Her voice was so calm and very entertaining.
Not like us. Like, honestly, we the antithesis of this podcast. She took her time. She spoke like in full sentences, and we could learn a thing or two.
And she didn't assume everyone can just read her mind. It's like amazing.
Right.
She explained everything in detail.
What a crazy concept.
Could never be me.
Too wild, but now I'm like,
couldn't be me.
Never be me.
I am just like suffering from everything that's on the internet. I got FOMO from. Like, I hadn't watched some reality television in a while, but now all of a sudden I'm caught up on Love is Blind. I'm caught up on The Bachelor. Like, because the drama online, it's almost like you have to consume the content just to be like, you don't want to miss out on the combo, which I've had that happen with books. Like, I've read some books that I'm like, everyone's making such funny memes and cute edits and aesthetic edits, and I feel left out. So I guess I'm going to read it now. So I'm just really influenced. What can I say?
Unfortunately, very easily influenced. But you know one thing I will not be influenced into reading?
Let's hear it.
Oh, yeah?
That is H.D. Carlton's new book, Where's Molly?
I have not heard about this.
Couldn't be me. It's a
new release.
It's a little one.
A novella.
Novella, yeah.
I believe. Where's Molly?
What's it about? Does anyone know?
Why?
I don't know. I know. Wait, hold on. I know it's similar to Haunting Adeline, but I think Molly disappears.
Yeah, hence Where's Molly?
Where's Molly? And that's all I remember the person talking. I remember they said the synopsis of the book, and it went in one ear and out the other. I just was like, no. And I saw a bunch of really bad reviews for it too. Well,
I don't know. I think she might be one of those authors, like, you know, your pass basket. She's like, whatever the opposite is that for me. Like I will not be probably reading anything. Yeah. I know her. I know what she does, and I know why. It's not for me. So if she picks up another genre or something, maybe. But
that'd be kind of cool if she did, because I would love to test out her writing. Because I think that's probably, like, no, weird thing to say. Like, her writing style, like, like, what's the read about? But like, the topic of conversation is just not for me. Okay. And I would love to enjoy something that you read, but the topic I can't get behind. So
understandable.
That's probably. But I would assume that many people enjoy her books because of the writing style. So
yes,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Whereas the things that happen in them don't affect them. So like, yeah, I get it though. Some people, like, I feel like it's that part where I sometimes struggle with. I know I'm watching a lot of reality TV right now, but it's like there's like the cringe factor to it, and I think a lot of people find that like that's why they're watching. Like they want to see that like awkwardness or the like drama behind it. Usually that stuff stresses me out. So like when I hear the scenarios in HD Girl, I'm stressed. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not like, oh my God, no way. Like I can't wait to see that happen. I literally get nervous about the idea that that's happening.
Levels. It has to be like completely outrageous where it's like not in reality at all. Like the Kraken sacrifice, where I'm like, okay, I can get into this now because it's so outrageous that it's just fun.
Exactly. It's so
okay, but those books, like Kraken Sacrifice, they have a very like it ain't so serious vibe to them in general. Like the way that I don't know, they're very unserious. You're right in that. Yeah. Like it's crazy what's happening, but no one is over here like I can imagine are getting like sold
to these men. Men's in quotations. But it's like so crazy that it's funny where if like you put that in like a more present day situation, I'd be like, oh no, not for me.
Yeah, because like getting sold to a kraken is one thing. Getting sold to another human being, absolutely not.
No, thank you.
Not okay. No, that is slavery. We are not standing for that.
And you know what? There's levels to it, because now I'm thinking about it, because I was like, well, some dark romance, there's like the mafia idea, and there's like the kidnapping of people and things like that. And you know what I realized? I like a tame mafia. I like the hint of gang activity and violence, but not so much that it's in my face. Like, for example, Daisy Hates. Just a little sprinkle. There are guns. People have guns in Daisy Hates. Do they use them that often? No. Do they get pulled out a little bit? Yes. There's a threat of violence. People do, and they're stealing art. So it's crime, but like who, no one, there's like I like the little hint of it. So it's like, I'm not like I'm completely against it. It's just,
it's like,
I have
when they are art thieves, it's like, ooh, you are stealing, but like, it's art, like it's not that big of a deal.
You're not stealing women,
like, mafia and stuff. My feminism goes like out the window, and I'm like, that's none of my business what he does at work when he's not with me. I don't ask questions. That's his business, and we're gonna move along now.
Yeah, not my business, not my problem. Yeah, so there's levels to everything. So it's like, I can't say that I'm like anti this in books. I'm anti violence, or I'm anti this. It's just everyone has their own brand and genre they're into. Like I literally have people who I know who like love contemporary romance, and I'm trying to like get them to pick up a fantasy book, and they're like, couldn't be me, girly pop. And I kind of respect that. Obviously, I'm still out here trying. Like, you should try. You might like. But they're like, no. You got to keep me in reality, babes. I can't deal with that. So it's the same for me. It's literally like no judgment. The girly pops are out here so excited reading Ancient Carl. Literally not a spec, but at the same time,
get into it.
I just can't.
Yeah. Speaking of people,
I love our transitions today. We're so smooth.
Speaking of people who want to live in a fantasy, but they're not, I saw the most interesting little factoid on TikTok last night, and I about passed away.
I can't wait. What is it?
This is news to me. But apparently, last year, the year before, Miss Holly Black, author of Cruel Prince,
now I know what you're going to
had
say.
plastic surgery on her ears so that she now has pointed fairy ears. Mic drop.
Okay, hot take. I'd rather you do that than wear those really obviously fake, terribly done fake ears, because there's some thing when I see people wearing the fake ears that like don't match your skin tone or like really obvious. It just like I get really like when I see it. So, have you seen these ears? That's my question, because
yes,
I can't picture what's it like. Describe.
Well, so I believe they're still using they're basically cutting your ear and then moving the tissue up to where it is pointed. So they're still using your skin from your skin. So it's not it doesn't go back like you typically see fairy ears that are in illustrations that go backwards. It almost goes up because you're still following the directional pull of your natural ear. So it's a baby point. And you know what? I would say it's cuter than any fake ear. But still that was the choice. But you know what? You do you. And if it's the prime example of she wanted to be a fairy, so she wrote about it and she became one.
Slay queen.
She is Miss Ma'am who gave her
fairy.
oh my god. No, she is the author who gave her love interest a tail. So this feels on par. This feels like it's part of her attraction to, the Fae. And you know what? That's fine. But to me, I literally, when we talk about them having pointy ears, I just literally look at it as like their eyes were blue. Like, okay, we identify who they are. Like we know that they're Fae. Like I've never been like
picture them when
ears,
I'm like picturing the people. Like I know they have them, but like in my mind, they just don't.
Do you guys ever see cosplays and you're just like, oh yeah, they do have. It's the wings don't even get me. It's the ears sometimes.
I always have to it's like my mind kind of scrambles for a moment. I'm like, oh.
I'm like, in my opinion, it just look a lot better without them. I don't know.
It's not necessary.
If we just hit that from the world.
Can you just have a little bit of longer hair and then you don't see it? Possibly. But I understand why we need
possibly.
I understand. I get it.
I guess of the physical things you're gonna alter, I'll take a pointy ear over like a tail or tentacle penis. Yeah. So when you put it that way,
might be a little harder to accomplish in the okay, but I don't want to say it's impossible.
Okay, speaking of Fae cosplays and ears, so there is a controversy going on Book Talk. There is a Starfall Ball in London that is put on by a company called Hush Fable. And they are leaning heavily into, which I think I've seen more and more doing this, like having the cosplayers. It feels like Disney-esque with the characters here, like where really the event is heavily based on the fact that you get to interact with these cosplayers. They're casting them, they're announcing the casting. It's like a big part of it. So I think that's maybe why this is so controversial, as opposed to just like they're there at the dance. No, they're advertising them as like the attraction. So apparently all the characters that they have announced and that they have sort of advertised, they have left out Elain. So you have Feyre, Nesta, Mor, Amren, Tamlin, Lucian, Bat, and all the Bat Boys, but no Elain. And so there has been a grand deal of backlash for leaving out Elain. What are your guys' thoughts?
The one with the least amount of personality because we don't have her story? Yeah. Elain?
No, anger. I mean, like, I've seen it, and I've seen people screenshotting the company's comments, which I think their take has been, hey, this at the end of the day, which I think we can all understand and relate to, it's a business and we have to make these decisions based on what things are going to cost and the value that they're going to add. So when there is a budget involved, there are some decisions. We wish everything we could do in life was like, I have all the money and no budget and we can do whatever we want. So they're kind of trying to point out that she's probably the least requested, or at least I don't know that would have been my defensive take as to why I left out Elain. I think what you said, Caity, makes a lot more sense. We don't have her story yet. She hasn't been, but I guess the same could be for Amren and Mor, like it's in terms of like how much we've heard and how much they've been on the page.
I beg to differ. I feel like we know more about Amren and more than we do Elain.
I don't know. I don't know that I'm super, like, I'm not offended by it. I definitely wouldn't go on we're talking multiple accounts calling them out, so many comments. And obviously we know that things get more exposure on TikTok, the more negative and like they are. But I kind of get it from a business standpoint. Like, I don't think you should purposefully, but I think there was a decision made and they're like, who are these girly pops going to want to like take their pics with? And apparently everyone in the comments said Elain was very important to them. And to that I say, what do you know about her? Like, what are you so... You want her to bake you some bread? Like, what do you want?
Yeah, I think it's the wrong hill to die on. I don't think anyone needs to be barking up that tree. And oh God, I think we could go down a huge rabbit hole of ball talk because of the elephant in the room. But if we want to go down that, we can.
I know. That's where I was like, do you bring this up and acknowledge the fact that we held one of the first Starfall balls, which is a wild concept, and since moved on. So maybe now we're looking at it retrospectively. I don't know. I want to open that.
I'll say this, and we can go down the rabbit hole as much as we want, but as a business standpoint, coming from us who did multiple balls, and if you're just tuning in, yes, we have done multiple balls. That business has now come to an end, and we can talk about that on another day. I think it would honestly be interesting to talk about.
Sure would.
But from a business standpoint, especially coming from this exact same thing, when you're looking at it line item by line item of what's important, what's going to bring value to the table, I'm sorry, but Elain is not on there. They're going to want to take pictures with the Bat Boys. They're going to want to take pictures with the Valkyries. They're going to want to take pictures with Amryn and
I feel like if I was in their position, though, I might have traded out Lucian for Elain. Just personally.
Oh, sorry, Lucian.
That's the thing that's bugging. I'm like, I feel like Elain would have been more of an importance to have the sisters.
It's a lot.
So, like, leaving out just Elain, you have basically everyone.
It feels intentional.
Did you say Tamlin was there?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. See, that changes
everything. If it was like Bad Boys and like it was like the main family plus Nesta, because we know Nesta now is like a huge part of it, then like fine. But if you're having these like, I don't want to call them side characters, but I'm like, I feel like looking at it, Elain should have beat some of these people out.
When you look at the list, it definitely feels like you forgot unless like it was intentional. You know what I mean? Like I understand though, like when you hit a budget mark, like a line item and you gotta cut somewhere, I get it. But I think there was a comment made, and I don't know if it was from them. Again, we are not a valid news source, so don't take me word for word. But I believe there was a thread of, the guys are more popular. If we were gonna keep Lucian over Elain, more people are, which is a very scary thing to like start a conversation like in that way. But and unfortunately, I don't know that it's inaccurate. It's not. It's an ugly truth. But like, who are people going to be like noticeable? Like in a photo with you, you're going to be like, that's definitely Lucian. That's definitely Tamlin. Who is that very pretty girl? We know Feyre because she has her hand tattoos and she's the High Lady of the Night Court. Mor is always in red. Amryn is, and not to say you couldn't make Elain great. I just think there's. Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird though to have all of them
like minus just walking around with her photo ops with just like a baguette.
I feel like just put some like flowers in her hair and stuff. I don't know. I feel like,
but then is it just someone else attending the ball?
If you put a floral thing with the sisters, I don't know. I just like you have literally everyone, but Elain is like the thing where I'm like,
I know that's where you get me.
Like you have everyone.
You could have cut Tamlin. You could have cut. Yeah, because who's going to, other than to do it in a derogatory way, who's like, oh my God, I've got to have my picture with Tamlin.
Just to have like interaction. I mean? Like, are they just going to like bully him?
I don't know. I don't know.
Are they taking on the personas of them? Or are they pretending to be Tamlin the whole night? And little lines.
110%. And they're really getting like, I saw a different ball do something similar. They had like an entrance. Like I said, it's very much, we didn't really go this route. We kind of focused on the experience as the person attending, like in ours. Like I know people cosplayed and that was cool, but this one's very much like a different like vibe in that it's about the characters and like like I said, they're full acting out as these characters. There's promo videos. And I imagine when they're there, they're going to act, not like scene for scene, but they're going to be doing things that feel like that. Again, it feels like Disney World with the cast is what it feels like.
It's a very slippery slope doing that route.
I would agree. I can understand why we didn't go that route, but
yeah,
to each their own. But yeah, wild. I had people quite up in arms. And I think I went all over the place like you guys. At first I was like, well, it's Elain. And then I was like, wait, looking at the actual like cast list, and it literally felt like someone literally just forgot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or she fell out as a cast member or something. Like, you know what I mean? They had her cast. It felt like that.
That being said, I don't know if I'd be like up in the comments about it.
Same.
No, it's such an interesting hill to die on. Like, please. She's not there, all sad. Catch her on the next one. Like when she has like more story behind her, and you'll be excited to take a photo of her.
I mean, this is just crazy and wild to talk about given our unique history with these bookish balls. But I agree, Caity. We should totally do a deep dive one day. Just some that when we're really ready and we've healed. Because there's some fun stories I feel like you guys would really like to know about. So I think this is a good place to wrap it today. What do you guys think? Is it?
I agree. Let's leave it on this juicy cliffhanger because there's a lot of tea there.
That's a whole episode. That might be a two-parter. That's all the tea.
Well, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, follow. We'll see you then. All right.
Bye.
See you guys later. Bye.